Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching this video, of course, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard, one part of the Dynamic Duo UK, and today we're going to be talking about PIP Assessors, or PIP Assessors questions rather, and how to combat their lies or ways that they try to trick you in answering a question which will suit them more, so it doesn't go in your favour, so you end up scoring 0 points. Doing it from the car today. It's extremely cold. It's about 3 or 2 degrees outside. I've just come to the doctor's because I've got an appointment due in about 40 minutes or so, so I'm pretty early. But I thought, you know what, we'll try and cover a few basics while we get a chance to. Might jump between different scenes, don't you, guys? Really don't. But yeah, so first things first, let's go through something which is very important, which everyone needs to understand how this works and what it actually means for you if you're claiming PIP or you're going for a PIP renewal. Okay, so the first things first, and I will try and put a screenshot on the computer screen for you now, guys, or your phone. Something which we like to call, or they call STAR. So to assess eligibility for PIP, providers use the STAR criteria. When they say providers, they mean, for example, Capita and multiple other agencies that they use, basically, to answer these questions. Now, they should all adhere to these particular questions, but unfortunately, as we've all proven and found out, that PIP assessors do like to lie, and it's more in their favour because they'll then receive a bonus at the end of the quarter or at the end of the month, and they'll receive on average between £80 per failure depending on the person. So the STAR criteria, so basically providers use the STAR criteria, that is safety, timely, acceptable level, reliably even, sorry, get my teeth back in, and repeatedly. Essentially, what they want you to understand is what extent applicants can complete 12 daily activities. That didn't seem to sound very good, did it, in English? I do apologise. I'm reading it from the screen, so yeah. So these can be such as preparing food or travelling. Applicants may be able to complete each one of these activities, but may struggle doing so, or may feel tired or anxious after that. This is why it's encouraged to be honest as possible. The PIP assessment is not a diagnosis. This is obviously for the claimant to read, so they're saying to be as honest as possible, and it should be about how the condition affects you on your daily life, or a good 70% of the time, how it affects you. So let's start with the STAR criteria first of all. So one of the questions that you may get asked potentially in the STAR criteria is, one of the first questions rather, not in the STAR criteria, is basically going to be, can you prepare food? So that's one of the first questions on the actual PIP assessment itself. So can you prepare food in a safety manner? So what they refer to as that is, can you prepare food safely? So give you a prime example. Can you chop onions? Can you chop carrots? Can you hold a knife safely within your hand? That's a key element. So if, for example, if you're someone who suffers with epilepsy and you can't obviously be guaranteed to use the kitchen knife, for example, all the time, because it's not a safety factor. If you were to have a fit, for example, whilst trying to prepare food, you can not only injure yourself but others around you. So that would be one of the key elements. So safety is the key crucial thing. They're then going about the timely manner. So that's the T. Timely refers to, again, I'm going to use an analogy or an example here. So let's say you are walking and it's a mobility question, and the mobility question asks how far can you walk. So they've got, for example, 20 metres, 50 metres and blah, 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 blah. If you're not sure on the questions, I'll put a link down below in the description so you can look at the PIP questions overall. So you'll see what I'm referring to. But they'll say that in a timely manner. So the time it takes you to get from point A to point B is an acceptable level. Now, I disagree with the STAR protocol in this instance, because a timely manner for anybody can have a different effect. So someone, for example, who's in a wheelchair, had an injury, and is starting to learn to walk again, could suffer more if they've not been through physio, so they could take longer to get to the destination, whereas someone who suffers with mental health problems, for example, could get there potentially in a timely manner, but then could feel distraught, distressed or anxious afterwards. So I think the timely manner is a bit of an odd one, really. And again, the third part of the criteria, acceptable level. What do they deem as an acceptable level? So if, for example, again, you're cooking, preparing food, but it then takes you a long duration of time, is that an acceptable level? There's different there's ongoing qualification questions that I would need to ask in relation to this, really. So it doesn't make much sense. I mean, I will pop again a link down below in the description, so all of these links are going to be there for you guys to read and have a look through, and you can make, of course, assumptions or base your ideology ideas on what you think is acceptable, and give it a good read, because honestly it's really in depth. And then the final one is reliably and repeatedly. So I really can't speak. Reliably and repeatedly says to me that can you do that task often and reliably, and can you do it over and over again? So that would refer to, for example, you know, oh God, I'm using an example here I can think off the top of my head. Sorry, it's really early in the morning still. I've had no sleep. Oh, think of one, Rich. Think of one. Come on, think of one. Found one. Think of one. Yeah. So, right. Can you reliably walk 20 or 30 meters, and can you do it often? You know, is it repeatedly? So, again, it falls into that kind of category. But, you know, it opens up a whole different kind of worms, really, to interpretation. And, you know, the assessors, as we well know, a good 93% are not medically trained. I've not met one yet that is, personally. If you know of one, please let me know, and I'd love to see your paperwork to prove that you are medically trained. But then it opens that question again of, are you medically trained in a subject area? So, for example, if you've got a lot of mental health issues, suffer from psychosis or bipolar, how can somebody who deals with children or the elderly, for example, and again, no offence to the elderly, how can they medically assess or train someone based on that, you know, condition? They can't. So it opens up a whole bunch of issues, doesn't it? Okay, so that was the STAR criteria. Please make sure you give it a read through. Like I said, the description will be down below. Give it a read through, give it an understanding if you can, best of your ability, because it's not the easiest, I'll be completely honest. And we then move on to some of the trick questions. Now, again, I'm going to put these questions on the screen. I've only got a couple today, but I will probably add more as this video goes on, if I'm completely honest, because, like I said, I've got a couple of hours to kill, and I've opened up the wrong thing, so that would be a good start if I open up the photo album, wouldn't it? Been a long day, really has so far, and it's only what, 20:09 in the morning. Anyway, so let's go in with some of the questions. Okay, the first one is a really funny one, actually. This is a trick question that assessors will ask you, and they will use it to their ability to try to score you 0 points. So the question will ask, okay, this is the driving license question. Now, 2/3 of the time, the driving license question has no correspondence to your disability or your illness that you are potentially trying to claim that benefit for, nor should it have any endorsement to your disability or benefit that you've got. So, this question will be asked in direct and indirect ways. They are looking at cognition and the ability to move upper and lower limbs, communication and learning. If you don't hold a driver's license, they will move further back to your driving tests. It's imperative to make it clear that driving is not a measure of your disability and that a vehicle is part of PIP. That is the key, crucial number one. You have to ensure that you tell them that. The assessors do seem to forget that PIP does give the ability, or grants the ability rather, for a disability vehicle, which a lot of assessors unfortunately seem to forget that, which is a bit odd. And again, they're looking at, you know, your cognition and the ability to move your upper and lower limbs and communication and learning. It has no basis on your disability, and driving should not be, you know, a factor of that. So please do consider that as one of the trick questions they will ask you. I've been asked it before on a PIP question. I also got asked it on a LCWRA question, which didn't seem to make any sense because they're basing the condition how it affected me at work and not, you know, driving, which again, just please ensure you tell them it doesn't affect you, or you can answer just like I've said there basically and say that it's got no relevance to the, you know, to the question or to your disability. Okay, so moving on. The second question is the pet question, and assessors love to use this one, guys. Honestly, my advice personally, if you've got pets, fish, animal, dogs, cats, just tell them no. Just literally tell them no. Say you've had no pets or animals at all in your entire life. If you're going for a video assessment, please make sure you're in a separate room, pets are out of the way, or you're at somewhere safe, you know, or if you're doing it over the phone. And again, it's not to cheat the system, but unfortunately, they treat us like absolute dog crap, so why don't we treat them back the same way they treat us? That's the way I would look at it. But yes, the question. So the assessor always loves the pet question. Having a dog or a cat seems to go against you. It really shouldn't. The assessor will try many tricks to get you to answer and will ask it in many ways. Do you have a cat or a dog? It seems innocent enough, but the answer to that question draws up visions of you bending over, having the dexterity to open packets of food for the animal, brushing your pet, and take it for long runs and even prepare a meal for your pet. How you answer the question is up to yourself, but it's not a measure of your disability. So again, key crucial factor, it is not a measure of your disability. Please ensure you are telling them that, okay? I always like to go with the answer of That's none of your concern. Having a pet doesn't affect my condition or disability, so please move on from the question. If they then get shirty with you and say you're refusing to answer the question, just point out that you're not refusing to answer the question, but you've answered the question in a capacity which you feel would suit yourself and not the assessor. If they then continue to say you've got a refusal of the question and we'll end your assessment, then just going with, well, if you do decide to go down the refusal and ending of the assessment, you'll be breaking your own terms and conditions. So therefore that'll be classed as not an instant failure on my behalf, but a failure on behalf of the DWP, which if you went to a tribunal and then stated that, they would instantly get thrown out of court and you'd win anyway. So, you know, just play the forceful game, push and push and push. Like I've said, it may sound horrific and harsh, but the way they do it to you guys is the way they expect it to be treated back the same way. So please ensure you are treating them the exact same way. So yeah, just going on from that as well, we all know the assessors tell lies. That's why the call is recorded and you get them to repeat back is what is said. Don't forget, they state that they do audio record all their conversations. You are entitled to that recording by law under GDPR and data protection. You can request that within 30 days of your assessment being taken place over the phone, and you do that by calling the PIP helpline, saying you've had an assessment and you'd like to have the audio recording please filed, downloaded onto a USB stick or SD card and sent out to yourself. You can also request the notes, so they can take notes, for example, as well. And again, anything that you've said or they've said has to be not marked out, hidden by black biro, pen or whatever it may be. You know, it has to be in full, in detailed, that you can read and see. Always make sure your call is audio recorded. Yeah, we've been through that several times. You know, I always advocate honesty with PIP, but sometimes you need to let the cat out of the bag, and the assessors are not acting honestly. They've never acted honestly since God knows when, honestly. I'm going to say multiple years. I mean, some of the people in the comments that we've had basically have said they've done this for like 10 or 15 years. And that's not just on PIP, it's numerous ways of benefit claimants have done this on, so it isn't just them. Okay, so now it's what, 9:30. I need to get back into the doctor, so I'm going to go for my appointment, and what I'll do, I'll catch up with you guys when I get home, and we'll go through some more questions, or trick questions rather, that they'd like to ask you and how you should respond to them. So stay tuned, I'll be right back. Hey folks, right back at home now. Kara's in the background joining us today, so hello to Kara. Hello. Yeah, it is the next day, like I've said. I'm going to continue off with what I started yesterday. I'm going to go through about 6 or 7 different questions and elaborate on what they mean. These are all based around the PIP assessor's way to try and catch you out, to try and work in their favour effectively to score you 0 points, because as we've all explained in the past, everybody, every DWP caseworker, job centre worker, manager, whoever it may be, they're all designed to trick you up and catch you out. Simple as that. And I'll give you a little bit of a story actually at the end, something that happened to me today with the DWP. So you're going to be interested in this one, so just stick around until the end. Okay, so moving on. They may ask you questions in relation to how you travelled, and I'm sorry, I'm reading off my phone because I had to write it down, there's so many. They may ask you how you travelled to the assessment today. This isn't for a general chit-chat or being nice. It's actually a way to try and find out if you can plan and follow the route of a journey, which comes under the mobility section right at the end. It's section E, I believe, of the assessment. So it is a way to try and trick you to say, look, how did you get here? If you're doing a physical face-to-face one, if you're doing one over the phone, things like that. Again, they can't really ask you that question, but just be aware that they will try and catch you out with that question, and it is quite a common one that pops up actually at the minute, isn't it? So when asking about your daily routine as well, they're not just being polite or they've got an interest. Most of their staff will come across as being polite and interested. They're not, trust me, let me tell you that. They're actually trying to find out if your statements you wrote match up and are accurate to what you filled in your forms. It's all about the consistency and reliability of your statements. So I always say that whatever you've had wrote down in your assessment, what do they call it, forms? Yeah, in your assessment forms, whatever you've written down, or if someone's done it for you on your behalf, please study it. And if you need a moment, 2 or 3 minutes to actually read it through, just say, look, I need a bit of time to answer that question. They have to wait. They can't rush you. If you feel rushed, you can say, look, you need to slow down. I'm struggling to understand what you're saying. All these things will go in your favour. And of course, if you are recording it, even better, eh? Mm-hmm. You look tired.
Yeah.
Okay, do you want me to?
Up by the puppies.
Oh, bless you. Next one is, did you come alone today? Again, it kind of falls into the other question, doesn't it, really? Or are you attending with anyone on the video or phone call today? Which they will ask. Silly, though, because they can see that. This question is actually about your independence and your social interactions with people. So if you've got a lot of mental health problems and suffer with social anxiety, for example, if you say someone's here to support me, that actually goes negative in your favour, which is a bit silly and it's not supposed to, but they will use that as an option to fail you or score you on 0 points. All I would state is that if you've got someone with you, just say, I've got X person with me to provide social support, and then ensure you're saying, I want to clarify, this does no way impact my social interactions, so please don't mark me down on that. If you tell them that you know, they ain't going to like it, trust me. They're not going to like that at all, are they?
No.
And that's when two-thirds of assessors tend to bottle it or start getting aggressive, so that's a big one. They may seem interested in your hobbies at home, but it's actually about evaluating mental and cognitive abilities. So if you say, I sit there at home playing Xbox all day, to them, your mental and your cognitive, I can't say the word, cognitive, that's the one, ability is intact. So therefore, again, you'll get scored down. They're no longer interested in you. A very cheeky way of doing it, into that, really. You know, it's not really fair. How you spend a typical day today can be a trap to uncover your activities you haven't mentioned. Again, so they'll look through your assessment with a fine-tooth comb and they'll try and pick out things that you're saying that you do day to day with what you've written down. So if you write down, for example, I sit at home for about 6 hours a day in a dark room, and then you say, oh, my friend Suzanne comes around for a cup of coffee, they'll go, actually, you're not giving us the truth there. So in reality, you know, again, you score yourself on 0. So please be careful with that one, guys, because it is an entrapment, unfortunately. I've nearly done, I promise. There's a couple in there. When discussing medication, the details you provide can indicate how well you manage complex treatment. So our advice would be to simply refer to the assessment form filled in by a professional that you've done or sent off, or by a family member which explains it in detail. You're not refusing the question, but rather deflecting back to the original statement. So what I mean by that is you can turn around and say to the assessor, all the information regarding my medical records and medical needs are listed in the assessment thing I've sent to you, the form. Could you please refer to that form and move on from the question? You're not being rude, you're just deflecting it. They can't ask you that question, so therefore you can't be scored down on it. So just a quick heads up on that one. Let's have another look. So, questions about handling money. This is quite a good one as well. Now, they use that to evaluate your mental arithmetic, that's a strong word, and cognitive functions. If you've got someone who does the finances for you, tell them that. Tell them that your finances are handled by X, Y, or Z. If they say, are you handling it well? Again, just make sure you're reiterating that you do not have any control or function with your finances. It's all dealt by somebody else. They'll then probably ask you, have you had debt in the past? Have you suffered a debt, for example? Are you in an IVA? Are you bankrupt? You could turn around and state, yes, I was made bankrupt, or yes, I had an IVA due to my disability affecting my ability to, work with money. Therefore, this is why a third party or an independent party is now taking over my finances. If you base it on that, you cannot be marked down, because if they choose to mark you down on that, they're breaking their own policies and their own rules, guys, because that in effect is discriminating against a disabled person, isn't it?
Financial discrimination.
That's the one, financial discrimination. I'm glad that she's here because I didn't know the word. And the final thing, because there's loads more, but I can't fit it all into one video, guys. If you want me to do some stuff in the description down below, I will try, but I will try and do a separate post on a separate website maybe somewhere as well, so you give them all a quick read through at any point. I will try and work on that for you. But the final thing is they may ask you to elaborate on a specific incident to see if your response aligns with your claimed limitations. So if you don't know the answer to it, just say, I'm sorry, I don't understand. If you don't have an answer and they're trying to keep pushing you to move on despite attempts, you could just say, look, I've told you I don't have an answer for this. Could you please move on? It's not relevant to my disability and how it affects my daily living. You can make sure that you just keep saying those words. It's not relevant to my disability. And the more that you've done that and the more evidence that you've done to record it proves that, you've done your job. That to me is one of the key sort of crucial points I could recommend. I know I've just gone over there real quick, sorry. Woo. Yeah, that's one of the key sort of crucial things I can recommend to anybody. Please follow in detail and don't let them trip you up, because they will try and trip you up. If someone's got to be there with you, fine, but record absolutely everything, and I mean everything. Don't let them win, because that's just what they want you to do. And you know what, as well, just a quick one. I'm going to address the comment because you know about it because I told you this morning. We had a comment last night and it's been deleted and it's been blocked from the channel. If you're watching, you're probably a dickhead, simple as that, and you probably work for the DWP because I simply got the comment as, oh, here we go, another arsehole who thinks he knows it all, along those lines. That says to me the DWP are starting to realise now we are fighting back, and they don't like it, and they're a bit peed off. Let me tell you a quick story today about myself, and I don't normally give you a lot of personal information. My hands are really hurting, by the way. Try that way. There we go. I could, couldn't I? Yeah. So today I had a phone call with the JWP. Who the hell's the JWP? The DWP even, about the YouTube earnings and the self-employment, because I did a bit of research yesterday and I spoke to HMRC. Now, because of where we are with YouTube and our monetary earnings, we're not classed as self-employed in actual fact, so we don't have to declare any of our income to HMRC because we're not get taxed on it or insured, so that doesn't really apply. Now, this morning, the job centre called me. I'm going to sit a bit closer. There we go. And the job centre stated that, oh, you are self-employed and you need to basically do this every month and blah, blah, blah. They tried to go down the selfly gained employment, didn't they? I think it was. Yeah. To which I responded with an actual fact, no, that's not true because we're not earning this amount of money. And all I have to do legally is provide you every month with whatever money I have. It's like cash in hand. Mm-hmm. You've been honest. Even she mentioned the word cash in hand, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
So she said basically you have to declare that every month. And I said, that's fine. Whatever money that we do earn, we're going to literally, do it as cash in hand.
Yeah.
Now, the way YouTube works, if you're all interested, is if you earn over £1,000 in a year, then you have to declare it differently and you're taxed on it. So what we've decided today is that if we earn over £1,000, the £1,000 we keep towards the channel, as we've always said and agreed.
Yeah.
And anything else after that, guys, will go straight to a charity. And the charity will be under the mental health charity. It's something that I strongly believe in and support. Yeah. So any money that we do earn over £1,000 in the year, we're going to literally all list it down, correctly. It's going to go straight to a charity. We're not going to keep that. That way, HMRC can't screw us over, and neither can the DWP. But back to the DWP real quick. The lady was nice, but this is the thing.
She was trying to trip you up.
She was trying to trip me up. And because I know I'm not stupid, because people think those people, mental health, have a lot of issues, but we're actually quite intelligent subconsciously. And we have to be because we get shit on so many times, don't we? Mm-hmm. And because I've always suffered this way, she came out with the words of, what would you like to do for work? Would you like to work? So why is the conversation gone from a self-employment question to let's try and get you back into full-time employment? Mm-hmm. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. If you are on LCWRA or any disability payments at all, they will see that you're in that work group. They shouldn't be trying to force you to look for work elsewhere. If you've got medical records proving that you're disabled or you suffer, they've got no legal right or standing to try and force you back into work at all. Me being me, I was quite clever, wasn't I? Mm-hmm. So I explained the situation. Again, I'm not going to go into too much personal detail because that's our choice. But you could hear despair in her voice when I told her pretty much no. Mm-hmm. What did you think she felt? What do you think she felt like? She must have felt like, I don't know.
She's like, oh crap,
yeah.
I can't get over on this one.
She kind of bottled it a little bit because she realised that she couldn't get around it at all. And I felt proud that, you know what, because I help people every single day, but I actually helped myself today. Mm-hmm. And I kind of just did a big stuff you to the DWP. And, people may comment and say, oh, you're a lazy fat bastard, you don't want to work, blah, 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 this, that and the other. We've said time and time again, this is our job, You work part-time, you struggle because you've got a tumour in your spine. We've said that, haven't we? Time and time again. Yeah, but she works part-time, she still goes to work. I work with this, and this is what I can do. I can't do it every day because, mentally it is a drain. It causes problems, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which, again, I don't want to go into too much detail. But as long as I'm trying to help people and doing what I can, whilst earning a couple of quid, and it is a couple of quid,
Yeah.
I'm happy at the end of the day. So that's just a point out again, guys. Don't let them trip you up. Don't let them see. They'll come across as nicey, but trust me, don't believe a word they say. Listen carefully. Think about what they say, and if you're unsure, ask them to repeat, and make sure you're responding with a response that suits your needs and not theirs. That's all I would say on that one. So, anything from you, my wife, before we go?
No, just don't let them trip you up.
Woo! Sorry, love, sorry. But for those you asking as well, Charlie's still here, bless him.
Yeah, he's got his I don't even know what this is.
Living his best life. It's a cow skin, I think, and the puppies are fast asleep with Squidgy
With
in the other
Mummy.
crate. So,
And,
but right, guys, that was this video done, over and out. The next one is in about 2 weeks or so potentially. We are taking a slightly small break now because I need a bit of a breather, and we're at a key crucial stage in our puppies' lives, aren't we? So you know,
they're getting
they're
big,
getting
they're
quick.
getting strong,
Very.
they're moving about a lot more. So we need to keep an eye on them a bit more. Even though they are in a pen with Mummy,
Yep.
they're still trying to
Exactly,
escape. And
so-
obviously she's getting a bit.
So what we're trying to say is, you won't see us for about 2 weeks or so. I will try to do a comeback live. Comeback live? Sounds like a farmer singing a song. Comeback live. Sorry, no offense to farmers. But yeah, so we'll do a video. Come back in. I can't speak.
when we're back.
Thank you. In about 2 weeks, we'll do a live and talk to you all then. So, if you've got any questions in the meantime, drop them down below in the comments. Don't forget, we will respond as and when we can. Please do not be disheartened if we can't respond to all your comments. I think Christine, I believe it was, I'm not sure, left quite a big comment yesterday.
Christine
And
Parkinson.
possibly.
Yeah, she comments quite a lot.
I think it was Christine. I'm not sure. I think it was, but it was a big comment. I did approve it. YouTube deleted it. Wasn't me. I'm sorry. I was agreeing to you. I was writing the response back, and it said error. I was like, cheers, YouTube, and YouTube deleted it. So that's a pain in the
We've had a
ass.
few problems with YouTube
Yeah.
just in the past few days.
That is a pain, isn't it? So, yeah. Thank you for supporting us, guys. Thank you for being there. I want to do a quick shout out to the other YouTube channel that hates us from Grimsby and Cleethorpes. We know you love to watch our content. We love to watch yours too and laugh at it. It's really, really amusing. All I'd say is good luck with your brand new Seat Arona. It's not the best car in the world, but it's still better than a Ford Puma. So on that bombshell, good night, sweet cheeks. See you later.